7 times the web was built. 7 times it was destroyed. The 8th time was different, not because the garden changed, but because the spider did. Silk was a garden spider. She was not the largest in the garden, nor the fastest, but she was precise, patient, skilled. Each night, as the garden quieted and shadows stretched across the soil, she climbed to her chosen corner, a narrow space between a wooden trellis and a climbing rose bush. The positioning was ideal. The morning breeze moved cleanly through the gap, guiding insects straight into its center. It was, by every measure, the best location in the garden. Through the night, Silk worked. Anchor lines first, strong, secure. Then the radial threads, evenly spaced. Then the spiral, sticky, delicate, mathematically exact. By dawn, the web was complete. She settled at its center and waited. A grasshopper struck the silk. Silk moved instantly, wrapping it with practiced efficiency before returning to her place. Then the water came. A human stepped into the garden with a hose. A sudden spray. The web collapsed in seconds. Hours of work vanished. Silk was thrown to the ground, soaked and still. The following night, Silk rebuilt. Same location, same design, same timing. Morning brought the same result. Water, destruction. Night after night, the pattern repeated. Build, wait, lose everything. By the 7th night, her movement slowed. Not from physical weakness, but from something heavier, exhaustion of spirit. The kind that comes from pouring your best effort into something, only to watch it disappear before it can fulfill its purpose. That morning, as she watched the water tear through web number 7, Silk made a decision. She would leave. Find somewhere safer, somewhere easier. Maybe the forest edge where humans rarely ventured. Sure, there were fewer insects there. Sure, she'd catch less food. Sure, she'd never thrive. But at least she'd survive. As she sat there, planning her retreat, a beetle crawled past. "You're still here," the beetle observed. "Not for much longer," Silk replied. "Smart," said the beetle. "Doing the same thing over and over rarely ends differently." The beetle continued on, leaving Silk alone with her thoughts. But something gnawed at her. That spot, her spot. The beetle was right about one thing. She couldn't keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. But what if the problem wasn't the location? What if it was the timing? She'd been building at the same time, every night. Starting when the moon rose, finishing just before dawn, racing the sun to complete her work before the insects started flying. That schedule made sense. It's what every spider did. It's what she'd always done. But, always done, had led to 7 destroyed webs. An idea began to form. What if she didn't build before dawn? What if she built before midnight? On the 8th night, Silk began early. Much earlier. The garden was nearly black. There was no moonlight, no visual guidance. She worked by touch and memory alone. Every anchor line was tested twice. Every spiral measured by instinct rather than sight. The work was slower, more demanding. Mistakes had to be undone and rebuilt. But before the first hint of dawn appeared, the web was finished. The insects arrived early. A moth struck the silk, then another, then a fly. By the time sunlight reached the garden, Silk had secured more food than she had gathered in the previous 7 days combined. When the water came, as it always did, the web was destroyed again. But this time, Silk was already fed, already safe, already successful. Days passed, then weeks. Every night, Silk rebuilt it in the darkness. Every morning, she fed. Every morning, The human unknowingly destroyed the evidence of her work. But Silk didn't need the web to survive the destruction. She only needed it to last long enough to serve its purpose. One morning, the beetle returned. "You're still here? I thought you'd have left by now. How do you survive?" it said. "I stopped trying to avoid the water," Silk replied. "What do you mean?" the beetle asked. "I can't control when the water comes. I can't make the human stop. I can't change the garden." Silk continued. "I only changed when I worked." "But you're rebuilding every night. Isn't that exhausting?" the beetle said. "It's the same amount of work. I'm just doing it when it can actually succeed," Silk replied. "This is still the best spot in the garden. I wasn't wrong about that. I was just wrong about when to use it." Silk continued. "So you adapted," the beetle said. "I had to. The choice was to adapt or accept less than I was capable of achieving." The beetle left, thoughtful. And Silk? She waited for nightfall. Because there was another web to build. There would always be another web to build. But now she knew something she hadn't known before, web number 8. The best location is still the best location, even when circumstances are difficult. Don't give up on the right opportunity just because your timing is wrong. And sometimes, the obstacle isn't asking you to quit. It's asking you to adapt. Seasons changed. Silk grew stronger. Silk's egg sac hatched. Hundreds of young spiders emerged, ready to learn the ways of the garden. One asked where they should build. Silk looked to the space she had claimed night after night. "Build where opportunity is greatest," she said, "not where it is easiest." "And if the work is destroyed?" another one asked. "Then you build it again. But you build it smarter. You adjust your approach, not your ambition." Silk replied. "The difference between spiders who survive and spiders who thrive is simple. Survivors avoid obstacles. Thrivers adapt to them." And every night, in the darkness when others slept, Silk continued to build. Web after web after web. Some were destroyed by water, some by wind, some by accidents she never saw coming. But she built them anyway, because she understood what many never learn. Success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about making failure irrelevant. Don't give up just because the obvious path doesn't work. Find the path that does. If this story resonated with you, there are more like it in our Mindset and Productivity playlist. Subscribe to Tales by Cathie for stories that help you adapt, persist, and thrive, even when the water keeps coming. What obstacle are you adapting to right now? Share in the comments below.